So within the Catholic Church, we've had some incredible saints, incredible stories, incredible miracles over the years. And so these are my top 3 favorite miracles with an honorable mention. I'm going to start with the honorable mention just because without this one, there would be no other miracles, right? So the miracle of the resurrection. As Catholics, as Christians, we almost take it totally for granted. But we genuinely believe and stake everything on the fact that this man, Jesus of Nazareth, was killed professionally, buried, embalmed, sealed in a tomb, and then passed through death into a whole new kind of life, appeared to hundreds, thousands of witnesses, and literally shaped the course of history ever since. If that miracle did not happen, we wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be talking, there'd be no other miracles to talk about. So without the resurrection, I don't know, there's no other miracles. So that being said, here's my top 3 favorite miracles. The first is the Eucharistic miracle of Lanciano, Bolsena. So it's the Eucharistic miracle that occurred in the 13th century. There was this priest named Father Peter of Prague celebrating Mass in the cathedral in, I think it was in Orvieto. I might be confusing some of my details, but this part I know is for sure. He was celebrating Mass, and what happened was, as he was harboring in his heart some very serious doubts about the doctrine of the real presence, that the bread actually transforms into the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus. As he's celebrating Mass, he fractures the host, and as he does that, blood spurts out over this arc of blood spurts out over the altar into the congregation, and he looks down, and in his hand is flesh, bloody flesh, and it bleeds all over the corporal, and Peter does what any one of us would have done. He freaks out, runs out of the church, and runs actually to the next town where the Holy Father happened to be at the time. He tells the Holy Father what happened. He basically confesses his doubt. He confesses his whole sinfulness in that regard. And the Holy Father, just says, he verifies the miracle. And he asks this new up-and-coming Dominican friar named Thomas of Aquinas to create what was known as an office for the body and blood of Jesus, better known as the Feast of Corpus Christi. So what we celebrate as the Feast of Corpus Christi has its origin, has its roots in this Eucharistic miracle. Thomas Aquinas wrote the Tantum Ergo, he wrote the Adorate Devote, he wrote all of these hymns and prayers associated with the real presence of the Eucharist, all of that coming from this miracle. Unbelievable stuff. So much more that can be said about these Eucharistic miracles. So my second miracle that I love is the miraculous liquefaction of the blood of Saint Januarius. Okay, I know that seems like a mouthful. Saint Januarius was an early church bishop and martyr. His disciples, his followers, after his martyrdom, they gathered up his blood into these little glass vials, and his body is buried in the cathedral in Naples. And what they do every year on his feast day is the Cardinal Archbishop processes with the relics of his blood. It basically looks like these little rocks. It processes with the relics of his blood over to where his body's buried, and the blood, these little rocks, miraculously liquefy. Part of why this is such a favorite miracle of mine is because I literally saw this with my own 2 eyes. Back in 2010, I was studying in Rome, and my friends and I, we went to Naples for his feast day. We were in the front row. We got to the church very early. We saw the relics of his blood. They looked like these little rocks, these little pebbles in this glass reliquary. So I saw it with my own eyes. I observed it before Mass. I watched the Cardinal walk over to where St. Januarius' body is buried, and he takes the glass vial and he just literally turns it like this, and it turns into this sloshy, liquid, bright red blood, as if like he just went to the Red Cross and grabbed one of those vials from someone donating blood. It was amazing. The church is packed with thousands of people, all these Italian grandmas waving their little handkerchiefs, going, "Oh, thank you, St. Januarius," right? It's amazing, really amazing. They blow off fireworks in the town. It's really, really cool. So seeing that one with my own 2 eyes was absolutely amazing. All right, third is, I'm just going to sum it up with Our Lady of Guadalupe. In particular, the tilma, the shroud, the cloak that St. Juan Diego was wearing, woven out of these coarse cactus fibers. It was the garment of the poor, and Mary appears to him. She instructs him that she wants a temple built on this hill, Tepeyac Hill, in her honor. And as a sign to the bishop, he was supposed to present to the bishop all of these rare Castilian roses that were growing on the top of this hill. One, Castilian roses don't grow in that region, nor do they grow that time of year. So Mary arranged these roses in his cloak, and he folds up the cloak, he's holding it, and he goes to the bishop, Bishop Zumarraga, and he opens the cloak thinking, Bishop, look at these roses, this is your sign. But as the roses fall, this image, Our Lady of Guadalupe, appears on the cactus fiber coarse garment. And like the bishop and his secretary, they fall to their knees as they behold this sort of like living apparition of Our Lady. So some amazing details about Our Lady of Guadalupe, the actual image itself. It's not a painting. It was not painted by anybody. In fact, the image itself like floats, so to speak, like a few microns above the surface of the fibers. The image itself, like, it should have deteriorated hundreds of years ago. It was woven out of coarse cactus fiber, but it's still been preserved by no artificial means. The eyes in the image function like real human eyes. There's real refraction. If bright light shines upon the pupil dilates, which is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. On the day that the Mexican government passed these big abortion laws permitting abortion in the country, the image itself literally changed. You can see pictures of this online. The image itself literally changed, and you can see emanating from the womb of Mary this bright, brilliant light, right? She is depicted in the image as a pregnant woman, a mestiza, a mixed race, an Aztec-Spanish hybrid. All the images on the tilma, all the images on the cloak, they speak to the Aztec people. It's a pictograph. It's a visual representation of theology. 9 million people converted to the faith simply because of that image. It's absolutely astounding. So yeah, those are kind of my top three. So much more that could be said about those, but the Eucharistic miracle, the liquefaction of Saint Januarius' blood, and my favorite, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and of course the resurrection. Top three favorite miracles. There you go.